Hello, welcome everybody. How's everybody doing? It is 8:30. Oh, actually 30 more seconds to 8:30. So I'll wait a little and we can get started soon, okay? All right, welcome everyone. Today it is day 2 of the Write Better and Faster in 7 Days Challenge. And yesterday we talked about getting into the habit, developing the academic writing zone. Today we're going to focus more on clarifying ideas because we often get stuck, and this is where we are stuck, the ideation phase. Okay, so let's get started. I'm gonna just get my slides on. All right, great. Okay, common questions I get all the time. Why am I struggling to write? And they would tell me, my mentees or students that work with me, they will say things like, my grammar is okay. I English is my first language, but I'm still struggling to write. Or another one is, I can only edit what somebody has written. So the thing is, writing is more than putting words onto paper. And writing is very complex. First, you need to have data and information that goes into your brain. It needs to undergo synthesis. Okay, synthesis means you're creating something new, combining ideas and data to form a new idea of theory. Next, you have to put the rough ideas down. And then as you do that, you may need to refine your ideas and words through organizing and editing. And this is an iterative process, so you have to go through over and over again. So it's not as simple as, idea straight down on paper. It needs to go through several rounds. So I'm showing this cake. I love strawberry cake. I love red velvet cake, and it makes me think of an analogy. So an analogy of writing is almost the same as baking a cake. And so first you need to gather your ingredients, right? Then you have to synthesize the ingredients. You combine the eggs, the flour, the sugar together, and then you edit the flavor. You maybe add vanilla extract, you add chocolate chips to the batter, and finally, once it's nice and done, you can put that into the oven. Then only finally, you put the frosting and decoration. So the key thing is you must do these steps in the correct order. And so writing is the same. And when you try to write the perfect sentence before you even have the concept down, it's almost like putting the frosting before the cake is ready or before the cake is even baked. So I'm going to introduce something called the 6+1 trait of writing. I learned it by Education Northwest, where they design and they talk about writing strategies for K1 to 12. And it's the foundation of what writing means. And so there's 6 stages plus, like the last one is 7+1. Okay, so let's go through this. The first stage is ideas. That is the main message. And the second stage is organization, the internal structure of the piece. Then there are other traits like including the voice, the personal tone, and the flavor of the author's message. And in our case, it will be mostly the academic writing style, being authoritative in our writing, being the expert in the field. So that is our voice. Then number 4 is the word choice, the vocabulary a writer chooses to convey meaning. Typically, it's very specific to your field. Next is sentence fluency, the rhythm and flow of the language. Then conventions, the mechanical correctness. Here is grammar. So that's the reason why even if you are good at your grammar or the basic convention, you may not, and you miss the first 5 different traits, you will struggle with writing. And then finally is the presentation, how the writing actually looks on page. This is the formatting, how the title looks, how the subsection. Okay, and so when we are stuck at writing, especially at the beginning stage, it is often at the ideation stage. Okay, and in fact, if you're stuck here, sometimes you actually do need to do more literature review, and you realize actually you don't really know your field that well. And before you start diving into your literature review, hold your horses. I don't want you jumping into PubMed or Google Scholar yet. So what I want you to do is clarify idea, because the mistake is if you start looking at PubMed or Google Scholar, you don't really know what you're looking for, because what you end up doing is just reading a bunch of papers, and then it's just information coming to you like drinking from a fire hose. So what do you do instead? So one of the best thing to do when you're stuck is to ask good questions. And so I'm going to talk about different ways to ask questions that can help you clarify your ideas. Okay. I'm not going to put a slide here because there's so many different variations and I want you reading from the slide. Later, I will summarize, put in the text form, and I'll send it through your email. Okay. So some ideas. Useful questions for the main paper. What is a research question? Why is it important? What is your key argument, or what is your key message? What is the implication of your paper? So that is kind of a general main paper question you have to ask. Then to dive deeper in each paragraph or each section, then we think about other things like some useful questions for introduction section. Okay, what is the general problem in your field? And why is this problem so bad? Or why is it so important, so urgent? Why is it so challenging? What are the barriers to solving this problem? And who gets impacted if this problem is not solved? And what great things can happen if this problem is solved? Has the field or other researchers attempted to study or solve this problem? If not, why not? Is it too complex? What are the barriers? What are the roadblocks? And if yes, what did the previous findings show? And why is it not good enough? Any other problems that come up of it? Or are there other roadblocks or barriers? So that is the introduction. So you can go endless with questions, but the goal is to trigger some questions so that you can start forming ideas and forming the connection. Another one that's typically difficult is the discussion section. So I'm going to run through a few potential questions you can use for the discussion section. And this applies to both original research and also for review paper. Okay, so one is what is the finding? What are your findings in the results? As for review paper, it will be what are the findings you found in the literature review? And then the discussion points you can be thinking about is this an unexpected finding? Oh, that's a plane flying around. Okay. Is the finding concordant with other studies? Why, if it is similar, why is it similar? How does your study add more to it? What about, is the finding discordant with other studies? That means, is it different or is it contradicting? Is it mixed? Why is it different? Is it because it's a different population? Is it the sample size too small? Are there new theories out there? Or maybe you even come up with hypothesis. You think mine is better because. Another question is, what is your point? What is the evidence to support your main claim? How do these? When you're done, what you want to do is to try to connect these points together. Come see if you can walk your readers through these steps, and then what has been tried before. What are the potential solutions you have, and what are the things or studies have been explored? What are the implications? To what extent? To whom? Again, in the discussion section, here you have a lot of questions to ask, and what you want to do is brainstorm, come up with the list to questions, try to answer as best as you can. If not, then you know you may need to go back and hit the to look at research papers. So, and the point is, it doesn't have to be perfect. You can create, you can scribble, you can doodle, you can make a concept map, you can also create a mind map, okay? And one key point is, as you start doing this exercise, you will realize you have so many questions and you need to go hit the database to look for other research articles. Don't pause to look things up. Just write down the questions and save it for a separate session. I like to call it my literature review work session. So you write down all the questions, because later in another work session, what you want to do is go through, spend only 30 minutes to find all the articles. Then you can read and look specifically to each section to find answers. So in this challenge, we will not be doing literature review, but just feel free to do literature review after your writing session today. Okay, so the task for today, the first thing is spend about 25 minutes, and you can spend more time if you want, if you want to do the whole paper. But sometimes I like to focus only on one specific section. Choose one, introduction section or the introduction section, and start asking questions and answering them. And as I say, you can scribble, doodle, do your mind map, okay? And If you have written the section already, do this exercise anyway, because it will help uncover some important insight. Because sometimes when we write, we don't have enough depth in our introduction section or discussion. And this is one way to create more interesting ideas and discussions. And then for the last 10 minutes, I want you to do the copy work drill. That's what we talked about yesterday, basically taking other people's research article and you start copying. So if you're working on the introduction section today, copy the introduction section. It can be the same one you use. You can even copy the same thing, or you can use another different article. And if you're working on the discussion section, copy the discussion section. So this is going to feel very boring. Do it for 7 days, just do it, because this exercise is like doing the drills, practicing dribbling using your non-dominant hand, or practicing scale. Even though it's boring, you just need to do it, because these 7 days we are trying to work, trying to develop our muscle memory. Okay, so I'm gonna end the stream here because I know everybody's busy and I want you to get to work. Again, 25 minutes on idea and the last 10 minutes on copy work drill. If you want to spend more time, feel free to do so. Okay, and most important, do not stop to look at our articles until you're completely done with this task. All right, I'll see you again tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning at Eastern time. And if you are, if you're done, take a copy, of your mind map and tag me on social media. I will put all my social media handles in the description section, and follow me, send me a connection, tag me, and at the end of 7 days, you stand a chance to win a prize. Okay? All right, take care. Bye.